Hi, everybody. Welcome to Central Valley Talk Live. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday. I'm Austin Reed, coming to you from our Tower District studios inside the Mike Briggs building. Stay with us throughout the day. We're going to be live and local until just after around 2 o'clock with so many guests. So make sure you stay with us. We're going to kick things off with artists and authors, and that's what we do every Thursday during the 11 o'clock hour. Terri Jay is with us via Zoom in Crescent Valley, right?
No, Carson Valley.
Carson Valley. I do know it's in Nevada, though.
It is. Very good.
How you doing? Welcome back.
Thanks so much for having me.
Cowgirl, Shaman.
Yes.
What's new? I hear there's some kind of rumor you may have a new book?
Yes, I'm so excited about it. This one is the physics of mediumship. And it's going to really upend the apple cart for a lot of people because it takes the woo-woo and the mysticism out of this and teaches it as a very scientific subject. So I'm really excited to share that with people. And, you know, most people get some kind of signals or they think it's messages from their deceased loved ones, both animals and human. Mm-hmm. And I love teaching people that, hey, you have these abilities. They're not gifts. And you just have to develop them and then trust it. And then you never lose your loved ones. They're with you all the time.
So talk a little bit about the journey that got you to this point.
Oh, Austin, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Seriously. Back in 1990, I was doing horseback therapy with disabled kids. And I picked a kid up out of his wheelchair and I put him on the back of one of my horses and he said, ouch, I have a cramp in my hip. So I looked at him and I said, you have a cramp? Well, here, sit this way. It'll take the cramp out. And that's pretty normal with a child that has cerebral palsy. So we carried on this delightful conversation. And the gal who was leading the horse while I was doing the coaching, after I was done, she said, boy, he sure is talking great. And I said, well, he's very bright. Just because he has CP doesn't necessarily mean that he has any cognitive problems. And she looked at me and she said, Terri, he didn't say a word, he can't, remember? And I joked that if I was a horse, I would have done a buck fart snort because that's what they do when they're really spooked. And I was spooked. So I went into the classroom and they put a band around his head with a pointer, and with his head he had typed out, horse lady can hear me. So by the time I got in there, he had written that out, and one of the teachers just looked up at me and went, oh, like that.
Wow.
So then I stood there talking to him, fully aware that we were having this telepathic conversation.
Yeah.
So that's how I got my start. And so when I went back outside, the gal who was helping me said, well, you ought to learn to communicate with the horses because all animals are telepathic. Well, that was news to me, too.
Yeah.
Even though I've been a lifelong horse person. So it was really interesting because she said, you know, you ought to learn to communicate with the horses. And I was like an idiot. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And one thing's led to another, and I'd start doing readings on horses and hear deceased relatives of people while I was doing animal readings. So it's really been an interesting journey. I just did a crossing over reading yesterday, and we were just getting going, and this gal's husband had died. And I said, what did you do with his effing chair? And they started laughing. Because he had a recliner, a well-worn recliner, and he joked about how it had his perfect butt print in it. Wow. And I'm relaying all of this stuff to them, and we're all hysterical. I think they were like crying, laughing, but I was laughing because he was so funny because they sold the chair. They sold the chair. They couldn't stand to see that chair without his hiney in it. So.
Wow.
The details you get, I mean, I'm hoping my TV show can be called I Can't Make This Stuff Up, but with the other
That's
S
a good
word.
One.
With the other S word, though. I want to be able to use that, so we'll have to probably be on streaming or something. But I'm working hard on that, too.
Tell me a little bit about, are there any surprises in this book that you can think of?
I think so. I think it's going to be shocking for a lot of people because I know a lot of mediums, their claim to fame is hanging their hat on, oh, I know how they died. And they attribute that to the deceased. Well, nothing negative can go with them to the other side. So everything negative, pain, suffering, frustration, unfinished business, regrets, all of that negative stuff gets shed off and left behind and left in the earthly realm. So if you tune into them on the other side, you will never get anything negative. Never. It doesn't compute because of the difference in frequency. Again, we're back to physics, right? But they'll go dumpster diving, what I call dumpster diving, in the garbage that the human has left behind and get all of this negative stuff, but they attribute it to the person as they are on the other side, or they say, oh my goodness, they haven't crossed over, they're stuck, which never happens, never. So you get so many people that are actually making their living, and I don't know if they really believe they're helping, or if they're just, bilking people out of money. But they'll say, oh, your loved one is stuck and hasn't crossed over, and for $5,000 I might could get them to the other side. And these people go for it. They believe it. I don't know if it goes back to the whole Catholic thing about purgatory, where they're stuck. I don't know where they get that information, but people pop out of their body. They kind of do the wet dog shake, like, oh, that felt weird. And they're instantly, totally, joyously happy. It's amazing.
So, and you see these scams all the time?
Oh, yeah. But see, that's another reason why I wanted to write this book, why it's so important, is it really teaches you how to avoid the scams. Right. That if somebody starts giving you negative information, and I'll attribute to either, okay, I'm dumpster diving, this is where I'm getting it from, or guidance is sharing this, and it's negative. I will never attribute anything negative to a deceased person, to somebody that's on the other side. And I think it's very healing for people, especially if somebody suffered or they died alone. And of course, nobody dies alone. Nobody dies alone. Because as they're getting ready to pass, everybody that they love that's on the other side comes to be with them. So they're all there. I mean, we've heard stories of people that were dying talking to loved ones that had passed.
Right.
And my mom was really funny when she died. Like, one of the first things she said is, I've got your pig. And I was like, what? I had a pig back in my 20s. And I didn't even remember I had a pig. And then she starts naming off all these horses that I had in my 20s and 30s. And it's like, what? So wow. It was pretty amazing to get those details even from my mom.
I gotta ask you, me personally, I'm obviously a very big fan of the other side, and sure. Everything that you're into and that you do. But do you feel like I follow that Tyler Henry's kind of a newer medium that's popping out, and I guess my question is, what are the signs for people to look for in a polished medium?
Well, you're going to only get
yourself.
Positive stuff. You're only going to get positive stuff. And there's several television mediums that have written books that are inappropriate is the only word I can think of, because one is about regrets, one is about unfinished business. Neither one of those things exist or can exist with a person on the other side, because it is not a vibrational match. So those types of things you get if you go dumpster diving in what has been shed off and left behind. We have to remember about the physics of this. There's a really hard dividing line in physics between positive and negative energy. Right. So if you're going to do this work, you have to develop discernment. I was working with a gal the other day she's a really gifted medium, and she loves doing police work. I will not do it. I'm too tender-hearted. And yet she was attributing the negative stuff that she was getting to the deceased. And so when I told her, I said, no, you're getting that from the garbage, not the deceased.
Right.
And so it was really fun to work with her and have her get that dividing line.
Right.
To where she goes, all right, so I'm a dumpster diver and I love dumpster diving. And I go ahead. I'm a thrift store junkie, so it's kind of the same thing.
There you go. Yeah,
Right.
good connection there.
Right.
We've got about a minute left. What's next?
Oh, I'm in a TV series this fall, which I'm really excited about. I can't say anything about it yet.
Okay.
But as soon as I can, I'll get back on here and share it with you.
Perfect.
It's pretty exciting. My readings were very important to the overall plot and what happened, and it's a true story. So my interviews are going to be in that, so I'm really excited about that. And
Great.
then I'm working with those producers to get my own show, too.
Awesome. We are going to keep everybody updated on that. As for the book, it's out now, right?
Yeah, all my books are on Amazon. This is the newest one, The Physics of Mediumship. Yep. They're all on Amazon. And then this one's for communicating with people that can't. We only have 7 to 9 million people like that. And this is my first book that teaches you how to do everything I do, the Cowgirl Shaman way.
Terri, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Live from Nevada.
Yep.
Take care. We'll see you next time, okay?
All righty. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. I'm Austin Reed. You're watching Central Valley Talk. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. That was really fun. Good job, Austin.